Okay, everybody, we are going to go ahead and get started here. It is right at 11:30, so I certainly want to be respectful of all of your time and make sure that we can get started with this in a timely manner. My name is Emily Lakemaker, and I'm the Associate Director of Recruitment and Student Life, and I'm joined today by our department, our EH department, ADAP. Ariadne, do you want to introduce yourself real quick?
Hi, I'm Ariadne Switzenberg. I'm the Associate Director of Academic Programs, also known as ADAP around here.
Yep. You'll hear a lot of acronyms. We'll try to do our best to spell them out for you. It sounds a little bit like alphabet soup around here sometimes. So we're really happy that you're able to join us today for this webinar. We're just going to go over relatively briefly the registration process for the fall. So course registration will open up later on this month, I believe the 22nd. All that information is available on the portal. But I think Ariadne today is just going to run over some specifics with you and run over the curriculum for each of the different tracks within EH, whether that's environmental health EPI, or global environmental health. And what we're going to do is we're going to go through the entire program. In the upper right hand of your screen, you can see where my cursor is. You should have a section there titled questions, and you can type in your questions there. And at the end of our PowerPoint presentation, we'll go through, read the questions aloud, and then answer them. So that way everybody can hear the questions, and we can be sure that we get them all answered in our time frame here for the webinar. So feel free to type those in at any point, and then we'll address them at the end. There are also handouts, and you should also see those in that same control panel up here on the right-hand side. There's a handout for each one of the curriculum. Again, like we talked about, the EH curriculum, global EH, or EH EPI. And we'll reference those when it's time to kind of look at those. And when you click on it, it should just pop up in a new window for you. We are recording this, and it's going to be posted onto our YouTube channel within usually about 3 to 5 business days after the live event. So if you want to go back and rewatch, feel free to do that, because we'll have that up here in just a few days. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Ariadne, and we'll go from there.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. Thank you for joining us. And once again, congratulations. And we're looking forward to continuing all of our conversations. But it's exciting that registration is opening for you in the near future. So I just wanted to do our first little info session with you guys today we're going to talk a little bit more specifically about the department versus our program names, a little bit about your advisors and your support that you're here, a couple important dates, curriculum, course schedules, registration, and then question and answer. So as Emily said, we are just wanting to clarify a little bit when we get questions or the semantics that we use here in our department. We are the Department of Environmental Health, and the programs that are administered by our department are Environmental Health MPH, Global Environmental Health MPH, and Environmental Health Epidemiology, and that's an MSPH program. And anytime that any of the other programs or departments send you information, or you hear things through the grapevine, or see questions through the Facebook page, for example, that are maybe geared toward other programs, some of it's going to be applicable to all students, but when in doubt, you're always going to follow the environmental health guidelines and requirements and curriculum and fall under us for administration. So I am your advisor for the department, and that includes academic advising and serving as a liaison between you and the school. Obviously, some questions at this point are more appropriate for the admissions department, but as you can feel that comfortable that this is your home, and I am your point of contact for most of your questions. And when in doubt, you can always ask me or admissions, and they will help direct you to the correct location, especially during this kind of in transition time before you get here. Also, as your advisor will be an environmental health faculty member. Everybody will be assigned a faculty advisor upon coming into the program, and usually we announce that at the department orientation session. And so then you'll start to connect with them and get to know them as early as the first day of orientation. And also, our department has a second-year student mentoring program where our second years serve as mentors to all of our first-year students, and you will get assigned a second-year mentor. And we just sent out this morning an interest survey for you to let us know your topic areas that you're most interested in so that we can make a better match for your second year student mentor. And we will also try to also match your faculty advisor with that same interest area as best as we can. That's not always a guarantee for the EH faculty advisors, but we do make an effort to look at your interests versus the faculty interests. And just so you know about the faculty advisors is that over time that person might switch based on your interest area and what you end up doing your projects with, but at least at this point on day one, you will have an assigned advisor. Okay, so just to mark your calendars, you've probably seen this all over the portal, but just to reiterate, and I'm really big on just giving you information in multiple places so you don't have to go digging for it, but then also you can have things right in front of you. So on June 22nd at 9 a.m., your registration will open, and it will stay open for you until July 17th at 5 p.m. And after that time, we do not really adjust any schedules unless you really have a special circumstance that we need to require to adjust your schedule. And then everything reopens during the first week of class, which is August 24th through August 31st. And our general rule and guideline is that you can attend every class at least one time to be able to make a decision for add, drop, or swap, even if it happens to be at a strange time of the semester. If it didn't start, for example, on the first day of the semester, we do always have a drop add period for every class. All the calendar links for Rollins, check the new student portal for all of your links, but also Opus and Enrollment Services website also has all the schedules. So they are posted and we'll show you where to access all of that. But for now, the new student portal probably has links to everything that you will need as far as more calendars. All right, so let's do a little bit of a curriculum overview. And this is a good time for you to maybe have open your curriculum sheet that were attached to the webinar. So there are program-specific curriculum for each of the different programs within our department. And each of the sheets looks like this, and they're separated into 3 different sections. And this basically is your contract that you're going to be following while you're here. And it lists all the requirements as well as suggested electives for each of the programs. So what courses should you take? This answers all of the questions, lays out exactly your curriculum. And on the 3rd page of the curriculum sheets, there's a suggested timeline for each semester. And in our department, we follow that pretty closely. So some people go with it exactly, and all of the suggested sequence. And if you follow that, you will graduate on time. And there is also flexibility. Some things are prerequisites to other classes, and that's why they're ordered in the sequence that we list them. But the general rule is that you have to finish everything before graduation, so there is a little bit of flexibility within our department. And these are attached here, posted on the web page. They're also posted on Blackboard. And we'll also give you the most current version on the first day of orientation. So the curriculum is split out into 3 main areas. The core classes are required by all Rollins students, and it's the foundation class that you're going to take in all the other disciplines. So there's biostatistics, epidemiology, behavioral sciences and health education, health policy and management, and global health for the non-global students. And then there's the program required classes, and examples of those are human toxicology, environmental hazards, environmental occupational policy, and practice. And everybody is going to do a thesis or a capstone project as well as a practicum. And practicum is your actual working in the field to get experience after your first semester. So when you're looking at trying to figure out what section to take or maybe even what electives that you're interested in, we have course descriptions and sample syllabi on the website.
You want to do that now?
Yeah, we can go ahead and switch over to that. So we're going to show you some tools on our website of exactly where you can find some of these web pages that I'm referring to. So if you go to the Rollins homepage and you go over to Rollins Life, and then the next section, the first section there is enrollment services, and you click on that. This is all the information for registration and enrollment. So for this summer and beyond, anytime that you're wanting to look at registration things or classes, on the left, kind of the quick links are the fall internal schedule, and then also is the Rollins catalog. And the internal schedule has all of the classes at Rollins listed in a very easy, accessible website that there's hyperlinks along the top that takes you to a certain department, and you can just browse and see what's offered. This is a great way to kind of see exactly what and when in a specific semester things are offered. And then the other resource, oh, and also on that page are some special notes. So sometimes when we, I think we'll talk about electives in the next slide, but there might be notes, for example, here on, this is the class number EH584, Built Environment, Public Health, and it says there's a special note here. So these kinds of notes are going to be pretty much only on this web page, and that's why we often say cross-reference this page with the course catalog and Opus and the curriculum sheet that you have open. And so usually when scheduling classes, people will probably look at multiple sites just to make sure you're getting all the information. So you know, you'll have prerequisites listed in the catalog, but something like half the semester will take place at Georgia Tech will not necessarily be in the catalog, so you'll see the special notes here as well. And then the catalog is going to be updated for the new year before you guys get here. We usually get that updated by the time school starts by orientation. So this is last year's, but not a whole lot has changed as far as the courses and content and everything. So if you want to have more of at a glance per department, this covers all the classes for each department. And some of the departments will list what semester they are offered, spring or fall. And it has a lot more information. So this is a great answering a lot of questions before you even get here.
Oh, here's EH.
Yeah. So, and it also has the curriculum reiterated in this book as well. So we just wanted to show you some standard resources that are here for you all the time.
Mm-hmm. And then it gives really good class descriptions too. Mm-hmm. I'll give you an idea of what they are.
Great. Thank you. So some classes require instructors' permission, including some of the things that you'd see on the special notes. And sorry, it's okay. Oh, there we go. Okay, so some of the special notes might say instructor's permission, or if you want to take something outside of Rollins, any other school, like I think in August they're going to announce some classes that might be available at the business school and other classes that you just need instructor's permission. You'll have to email the instructor and kind of introduce yourself and ask for that permission, and then you would forward that to me. Most of you probably won't be doing that for this semester. That's going to be probably more along as you move through the curriculum, but just an awareness that you can enroll in other classes as long as you receive instructor permission. And oftentimes it's usually if they have room, they'll be more than happy to have you. And then also you'll have more room for electives as you move through the program, so your suggested sequence shows that you have a pretty full schedule for fall, but I'll give you some tips on how to make some wiggle room for this fall if you want some electives. All right, so if you're looking at your curriculum and you think, wow, that class looks a lot like something I've taken in undergrad, then generally we don't want you to take a class more than once if you have the same content in your history. And all you have to do is send me a syllabus for the course and let me know what class that you're interested in trying to waive. And you could also potentially transfer in credits if you have graduate level credits that you have not received counted toward another degree, for example. You could transfer them, but in this case, we're talking about a waiver of a required class. So you just let me know when you've taken it, and if you took the course in your final semester and it was not on your application transcript, then you'll just send me a copy of your unofficial transcript. That's in addition to the final transcript you will send to admissions. And the department that offers the course will make the decision about the waiver. And if you're trying to get out of Global Health 500, there are some additional steps to take for that, so you can contact me directly and I'll send you the specific form for that class. But we never want you to take the same exact class twice. And I will give you a hint that biostatistics, even if you've just taken a standard statistics class, that is not something they will generally waive for you because they really want you to take biostatistics at Rollins. So unless it meets the syllabus pretty much exactly, that's one that I would just let you know it's more of a challenge to get out of that particular class if you've just taken a statistics class in the past. So almost all of you will be taking the following classes: Biostatistics 500, and that's a class and a lab, and I have already registered you for the assigned section. There is a no changing policy across the School of Public Health to change class or lab times. So we have fit all the rest of your required classes to be able to fit around your BIOS 500 schedule, and we are not able to change that time. So please don't ask, and the answer will be no across the board. And if you don't see yourself enrolled in that class when you log into Opus, then please let me know, and I might have missed it during enrollment. EPI 530, class and lab are also required for everybody this first semester, and we did already enroll the EH-EPI students in that class because you're in a different section, and we just wanted to make sure you got in. We randomly assign your lab times. You may swap the lab times as long as you check with me first and make sure you found a matching lab to your class assignment, but you are able to swap that when registration opens if you would like to try. EH 540, environmental hazards, and EH 520, human toxicology, are really the foundation classes in our department that all of you will take, and you'll add that yourself when you go to register in Opus. Other possibilities for this semester is to try to add another core class, or you may choose an elective, and/or. So global environmental health students will also be enrolling in GH 501, which is Global Opportunities and Challenges. And there's 3 sections to choose from, and depending on the instructor, you will have a different focus area. And the different focus areas are outlined here. The objectives and the curriculum for each of the classes is essentially the same, but it's going to have a different lens and a slightly different focus. So one is going to be a little bit more about policies, programs, and research, and one is going to be more about political economy of health. So the description about how to choose which section is available on Blackboard, which is something you also have access to, and I believe I also put a link to that under the portal advising section for the Global Environmental Health students. If you have more specific questions about which section, you can let me know, but the grid that we provided on the advising section of the portal really provides as much information as we have right now. And the EH-EPI students are also going to take EPI 533, which is Programming and SAS, and EH 580, which is Injury Prevention and Control. Okay, so note about electives. Electives are any non-required course, and they're 500 level or higher to count toward your degree, which is basically anything that we would offer here at Rollins and also some other schools across Emory. Again, just a reminder to view the prereqs and the permission rules in the catalog and on the web schedule that we showed you. And also, for those of you who really want to take another elective, but it feels like your schedule is full, we will allow you to take toxicology in the second year. And this would really depend on your interest or background or your need and desire to take another elective to make a little bit of wiggle room. So that's something that I know a lot of people who are interested in water and sanitation, for example, or really want to get GIS as experience this fall, just might feel overwhelmed with the number of credits. So again, weigh your options, and you could consider taking EH 520 next year. Popular other electives to consider are injury prevention for those who are not EH-EPIs and who aren't already required to take it. Global climate change, health impacts and response, built environment and public health. That is a class that is, that was a special note that we were referring to. That's a class that's a joint program with Georgia Tech. And so they have some built environment engineering people who are in that class along with the public health, so you kind of get the physical with the public health perspective, and that's a nice combination for those who are interested in that. It's also going to be available next year as well, so if it doesn't fit this year, you could take it next year. We have a special topics class about sustainability, which is taught by the director of the Emory Office of Sustainability, and it's a very well-received elective, and it's, I believe that one's a pass-fail grading basis. And also, as I mentioned, GIS, or Geographic Information Systems, computer program that a lot of people want to take. It's also a prerequisite for some other related classes, and that class is offered every semester. So again, if you can't get in or it doesn't fit in your schedule, you can consider taking that in the future. So we mentioned about where to find course descriptions. The department webpage has courses as well as sample syllabi. Other departments have syllabi on their web pages as well. And also when you get here and we have access to our servers, there is a server on the R drive, we call it, and there's a course folder. Right now you might not have access to that yet, so you can just email me if there's something outside of EH, or if you can't find it, let me know. And also you can ask around, we have the admitted student Facebook page for environmental health. You can also ask there. We've got a bunch of second years actually who are kind of looking at that, and you can always just email me directly if you have questions. So you are going to be enrolling yourself. So here are some rules to live by. So Rollins has this flat rate tuition structure, which means that you're going to pay one tuition for going here as a full-time status. And full-time is 9 to 16 credits. So you have to make sure that you have at least 9 credits when you go to register. And even at the first day of enrollment, if you are not exactly sure of what classes to take, I would recommend not leaving less than 9 credits, because once you start to enroll, a couple weeks after registration opens, they'll contact me and say, oh, here's the list of people that have less than 9 credits, so I'm going to have to contact you to add another class. So it's probably just best to fill your cart with at least 9 credits for now. And 16 is the max. There is a little bit of wiggle room there. On average, again, the course sequence tells you how many credits our students generally are taking each semester. I think in our department, it's a little bit higher than other departments, usually between 14, 15, 16, 17, and there is a little bit of flexibility. So for this first semester, as I said, I would just recommend the sequence that we list for you. If you are going part-time, you'll be going less than 9 credits, so 1 to 8. And if that's the case, please email me and let me know and remind me that you plan to go part-time. As of right now, I don't think I had any part-time students coming in, but if you think that you had been classified incorrectly in admissions, then certainly let admissions and let me know. And if you do go below 8 credits at any point during the semester, it could impact your financial aid. So that's the other reason why it's really important to make sure you maintain that full-time status. So you'll be enrolling yourself in Opus. I can certainly help you during any point along this process, and all of these sites give you plenty of tools and step-by-step guidance as to how to get yourself registered, but it's all going to happen in Opus. So if you do need assistance specifically related to Opus, I would appreciate it if you could include your student ID number and the course or the class number that you are asking about. If you just say, I'm interested in EPI 433 or 533, and I'm like, what section, or just to make sure, ideally I want to have the class number and the class name, especially if it's not in the EH department. And then also, if there's multiple sections of a class, I need to know exactly which one you're talking about. So give me as much information you can, and then I'll be more than happy to help you in Opus. Just a reminder to start checking your email every day. If you have any problems with your Emory email, or you feel like you're not getting messages, then please email admissions. They're really the main people right now who are going to be your liaison with IT. And ironically, you cannot email the Emory help desk using a non-Emory email address. So you can't use your Gmail to say, hey, my Emory email is not working, because they're not going to help you that way. So it's best to either go through me, but ideally at this point, go through admissions if you have problems with your email. And just a couple other reminders from the new student portal advising section. The department requests that you take the online city training, which is about human subjects research through related to Emory IRB, which is the Institutional Review Board. And this is so you learn a little bit about what human subjects research is before you get here. And we ask that you do it in the summer because there's not a whole lot of other time that you're going to want to spend doing this once you get here. And we will collect your city training certificates during the department orientation session, and you can email them to me at any time when it is complete. And that's just something to get out of the way so you're aware once you start your classes and start your research of what your responsibility is for doing research at Emory. And also there's a recommended EH reading. There's 2 books that we recommended. Of course, like any kid in the summer, we just recommend that you read and kind of get brushed up and excited about public health and environmental health. So if those books don't appeal to you, then we just encourage you to, you know, keep up with current events and be able to even talk about these on Facebook would be great, but just a good background of environmental health and current events. And we do have our Facebook pages. I've sent you plenty of links about between us and the department, and also there is the Rollins Environmental Health Students Group, and there's an alumni group, and any group that pretty much you want to join just to get information about. We would love to have you active and let us know what kind of questions, and just so you can also see things that are going on here. All right, so that is all the details you need about registration, and we are ready to take whatever questions you might have, and thank you so much.
All right, so we're just going to read these questions aloud. Feel free to type them in as we go, and we'll just keep going until we get through as many as we can. We've got about half an hour left in the webinar, and if we have so many that we can't get to your question, you can always reach out to myself or Ariadne directly. So Elizabeth is asking, what is the average classroom size?
So classroom or class? I assume you mean actually how many people are in a class. It really ranges. So your first semester, again, you're getting a lot of the core requirements out of the way. These are, as you heard, every student either in the department or at Rollins has to take most of these initial classes. So this first semester, they're probably going to be on average about 50 students. For example, we have one section of toxicology, and the entire incoming class is taking that for our department. So with that said, the department size is actually, we're one of the smallest departments at Rollins. So all 3 of the programs combined are about 40 students. And so that's about, you know, I'm just roughly 10 students for EHFE, global environmental, and environmental, give or take. So it's still small compared to an incoming cohort, and which also makes it nice because it's enough people you get to know everybody, and yet it's small enough where it's intimate. And also you do have these other classes like biostatistics and epidemiology. They try and have a lot of sections so they're not super huge. As you move through the program, some of your electives might have as few as 7 to 10 people, which is really great.
So Anna is asking, having some trouble accessing Emory email on my mobile device on her iPhone. Should I ask the admissions department? So Anna, for that, actually no. It looks like maybe you are able to access it on your computer or tablet maybe. It's just on your mobile device that you're having issues. The Emory IT address is help at sph.emory.edu. So that's help at sph.emory.edu. And you can just send them a message, you know, and see what kind of help they can give. Really, a lot of that stuff isn't addressed too much until you're actually here as a student. And during the, on day 2 of new student orientation on that Thursday, IT actually has 3 separate sessions where people can, where they come in and they talk about Citrix and our like VPN system and how to get all that set up, how to get your email set up, getting your email on your mobile devices. So we have a time and place for that, for you to kind of connect with IT in that sense during orientation just before classes start. So if you're not able, if you're still having some trouble over the summer, don't freak out about it. You'll be able to get it all accessed by the time classes start. Elizabeth is asking, how many sections are there usually for each class?
Again, that varies. In our department, because we are so small, we pretty much have one section of class each semester, and all of our classes are only offered once a year. So in other departments, there are multiple sections, especially all of the cores, like the behavioral sciences, core health policy management. They have probably 3 or 4 sections to choose from every semester, and we design the schedule and the curriculum so that you can enroll in at least one of the core classes every semester. As far as it being open, second years do have priority registration to make sure that they get all the required classes at least before they graduate. So some classes do fill up, but that's just part of the process. And most of our electives in our department are available. And if something is full, especially in our department, or if it's a required class, then please email me and let me know.
And I think that answers pretty well Nicholas's question about that we haven't got to yet, but he was asking about how competitive is registration. Are there course number caps that make this more difficult, or is it fairly easy to do the classes you want? Sounds like as a second year, certainly. As a first year, if you don't get it in your first year, you can get it in your second year.
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely guaranteeing that we will get you in every required class before you graduate. And as far as electives, we try our hardest to get you in. Again, I have a lot of control over environmental health classes. We are probably one of the more flexible departments to, let you, give you an extra seat or two, or if we're aware that something's full, we'll either start an internal wait list, or we will just open up more seats or try and find another classroom. So demand is always good to know if something is full. I don't have as much control in the other departments like global health or epidemiology or biostatistics, where sometimes their classrooms are limited by the number of seats. And of course, if it's a computer lab, those are even more strict because it's based on the number of computers in a lab. So I will always do the best I can to help you, and sometimes the answer is, I'm sorry, you'll just have to look back. And also the nice thing is Opus is open for about a month every semester, and you can always check back. People kind of load up on classes and then they drop them, and then drop out. It's always a great time to check back.
Elizabeth is asking, is Blackboard open and available to view, and when should we start buying textbooks? So in terms of Blackboard, you can go ahead and log into that. It's just your Opus, your Emory login and ID and all that. However, for classes, if professors haven't loaded the classes in yet, you're not going to see anything in Blackboard. Like your list of organizations and classes that you belong to will be empty. And I don't know if professors have loaded anybody in yet. So, Ariadne, you got any insight on that?
I have added all of you to the Blackboard site for EH, and that's under your organization.
I think it's organization.
It's not under classes. So look for me. If you don't see that I've added you, if you don't have access to the EH department, then let me know. Also on there, I'm still working on updating information. It's kind of a work in progress. So if you can't find something, or something's really outdated, or a link is broken, feel free to email me and let me know. I would recommend, another question is, when should we start buying textbooks? And I would recommend you can look right now that all the instructors who put in an order for textbooks, it should be visible to you through the Emory bookstore. Is there a link to that on the portal?
Yes.
Okay. So it's basically, if you just look up, Emory bookstore, it'll take you to the Barnes & Noble Emory site, and you can type in the classes. But I would wait until you know exactly what section of classes that you're in, especially for Bios and Epi, because each instructor might have a slightly different book. I'm not sure.
Jide is asking, is it mandatory to program our devices like laptops and tablets prior to classes? No, not at all. Although on the admitted student portal in the technology section, there are instructions on how to access your Emory. You do need your Emory email like immediately. For this summer, any information coming from the admissions office is going to go to both your Emory email and to your whatever personal email account we have listed for you. But the second classes start, it will be exclusively your Emory email that will be utilized. But really, the sooner you can start making that switch, the better. In terms of like Citrix, which is our kind of VPN system that allows you to log into our system off campus, all of that, there's instructions on the portal on how to access all of that. But again, like I said earlier, during orientation, our IT department hosts sessions to help get students set up for all of that. And the current working draft of the orientation program got posted on the portal yesterday, and it's in the orientation section there, so you can view it. So it looks like our questions are wrapping up, so we're going to go ahead and wrap up this webinar. We were really happy that you guys could all join us today and hope that you found this informative and helpful, and that you feel a little bit more confident going into the registration season. Orientation registration itself will open up soon. Look for that in late, mid-July-ish. I believe we have the 18th is our current date set up for that, and I don't foresee that having to change, but we'll keep you updated if it does. In the meantime, check out the portal. Get very familiar with that. Pretty much everything you need to know is there. You be sure that you join the EH Facebook groups that Ariadne has sent out, and then also the Class of 2018 Facebook group, which is the general one for everybody. And we've got current students in that, so rising second years and all of the new guys, all of the new class, a handful of admissions staff. So we're in there trying to answer questions as soon as we see them. So I think with that, we're going to go ahead and log off. Ariadne, you got anything else to add?
Just enjoy your summer.
Yeah, enjoy your summer. Get some rest.
And
yeah, and we look forward to seeing you in the fall.
Yeah, thanks for joining.
All right, bye guys. Have a great weekend.